We rise with a purpose, shine through the night. Voices of courage, lifting the light. Step into your moment, let your spirit fly. We are the voices that reach for the sky.
Welcome to Voices of Purpose, a podcast that shines a light on the quiet heroes, the passionate change makers, and the everyday people answering the call to make a difference.
Here we explore the stories behind the mission, the why that drives the work, and celebrate the power of purpose in action.
Hello, I'm Chris Wooters.
And I'm Chris Hibbert. We're the hosts of your show for today.
All right, let's jump into today's conversation.
Today on Voices of Purpose, we are honored to welcome a woman whose dedication to service transcends borders, titles, and expectations, Sangeeta Jatia. Sangeeta is not just a name in the world of Lionism. She's a force of compassion, a strategist of change, and a leader who walks the walk. As a past international director and an active leader in multiple Lions Club international committees, Sangeeta has helped shape the very future of global service. She's been instrumental in strengthening membership, uplifting communities, and advancing impactful initiatives that span education, healthcare, disaster relief, and more. But her impact doesn't stop there. Outside of Lions, Sangeeta is a passionate advocate for humanity, working tirelessly to empower women, champion change in youth development, and promote inclusive education across the globe. Whether she's on the ground responding to crisis or at the table influencing global policy, Sangeeta brings heart, wisdom, and humility to everything she touches. Her journey is more than a resume, it's a living legacy of love and action. So today, we dive into the life, the lessons, and the purpose behind one of the most inspiring voices in global service. Welcome to the show, Sangeeta Jatia.
Thank you so much. That didn't sound like me at all, but thank you.
Now, you're definitely, that is you in that show. I mean, everything I've seen, everything you've done that I've seen for sure is doing all of that. So we welcome you to the show, and you definitely have had an influence on me. I'm pretty sure you've influenced Chris as well. So thank you for coming on the show.
It's such a privilege to be on this show. Thank you.
Yeah, privileges are Sangeeta for sure. I mean, I only really sort of came into contact with you in India when we came out for the Global Service Week. But it feels like, I see you everywhere now. Through the telethon and various groups that we share. So in just a year and a half, I just feel like
Yes.
I've got to know you a lot better. So it's great.
Likewise, I've seen the wonderful things both of you are doing, and you're keeping the organization on its toes all the time.
Definitely keeping us working, that's for sure. Sangeeta, I just want to start out, and this is Voices of Purpose, and I just want to ask you the question. What is your personal definition of purpose, and how did you discover your purpose?
For me, purpose is doing something for somebody else. Not necessarily has to be service, but something so that, there's a reason why you exist. Each person has a talent. Each person has something which is inherent in them, which is something special. And if you can use that something special to make somebody else's life better, I think that's what is important. And that was the purpose with which I started out. And my whole idea was that I must do something for, use whatever I have for something, or making the world a better place, to making those around me better, maybe supporting people, maybe helping out. And that was always been my purpose, that I must do something with my life, not just let it wither away. It did not come. It did not come just by itself. It did not happen. And even when I joined the Lions clubs, I just joined because my father was there. And he asked me to become a member. And as like any daughter would, I obliged him, became a member, became the club president, even went on to become a district governor. Till then, I had not found a purpose in this organization. I was just doing things because I was expected to do things. And it was pretty easy to do this also. So I did it. But there was no emotion there. And I can honestly say, even as a district governor, I don't think I gave it, that kind of emotion as I would if I was a governor today. So it took time, and it was definitely, I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something for somebody else. I wanted to teach people. I found my purpose in the leadership training programs. And at that point of time, if you had to become a trainer, you had to have the badge of a past district governor. So I think I became a district governor so I could have that badge. And that took it forward.
So, so the teaching part is what pulled you in and made you basically have your purpose.
Absolutely. Because I wanted to do that. And it was so encouraging to see lions learning about. I remember at that point of time, we had just got, the internet and the computers and the websites were just coming in into Lions. And I just went and did a self course on that. And Lions was so amazed because they could now, I could make a website for them. And that kind of started me on. And I said, oh, I mean, if I could help them just make these websites, that could help service also in some way. So that's how I started helping, individuals, helping Lions so that they could get and start working on computers, use the websites. That's what was my first really purpose in this organization.
So can I ask you, Sangeeta, what was your background at the time when you became a lion? What were you in? Were you a teacher? Was that part of your background?
No,
No.
not. I wasn't a teacher. I was just a economics graduate who loved talking, reading books, loved talking to people. That was that. I had no real special skill. Honestly, I didn't.
But do you think that your skills have now significantly improved through the opportunities that you've had through Lions? Because clearly
Oh,
you're an
you
incredible
bet.
communicator now.
I could not. I remember the first speech I had to give as a lion. And when I went on stage, that time we had the lioness clubs. And I was the chairperson of a lioness of the, the district lioness chairperson. So I went on stage speaking. And I can still remember those, the words that I used, the accent that I used. Everybody was, my friends were laughing. And I knew I hadn't done a good job. But then I took off from there. And after that, over the years, this platform has given me the opportunity to learn so much. It was all self learned, I would say. Started working here, started meeting people. They gave me a platform, they gave me the courage. And today, if I get a microphone, no stopping me.
I know exactly how you feel. I really do. I can remember some of the first presentations I had to do, and oh my God, it was nerve wracking. It didn't go well at all. But now I'm not quite at the point where give me a microphone and try and stop me. But I'm certainly a lot more comfortable than I was, and I think it's made me better in my job as well. So personally, I
Oh,
really
yeah.
thank Lions for the opportunities that it's given me to make a better career for myself as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it teaches you so much. Allows you to, expose yourself, allows you to learn. And you have a ready made audience willing to listen to you. Where else will you get this?
Hmm.
But the Lions Clubs. And they've been phenomenal.
Yeah.
But what really changed everything was not this learning training programs. What really made me, attach this organization was a mission I went on. And this mission was tsunami had just struck the world. And it was a year after tsunami had struck, uh, you know, many parts of the world. Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India had been badly affected. I was just the immediate past district governor. And at that time, the LCIF chairperson, Dr. Ashok Mehta, just called me randomly and he said, would you go and film the work LCIF has done in these areas? I had no background of filming. I had no clue as to what I could do. He told me I don't have much of a budget, but all I can do is provide you with a photographer where you go, a videographer, he'll be there with you. but you will have to direct him and make a full film, and this film will be shown at the international convention. Had never even held a camera in my hand. I did not know what it was about direction. So I went to one individual in Kolkata who does, directs films. And I told him, can you help me understand what I should be doing? How can I do this? How can I, work this out? Because this is a project and I cannot fail my LCIF chairperson. And he has so much faith in me. And I've told him that I have no idea about how I could going about it, but he said, "No, I know you can do it. Find a way." He just left me with that. Just find a way, and so I went and understood. I spent a few days, a few weeks with him, understanding, what should I shoot, how should the shots be done, how will we put it together, what are the kind of shots that they require, and he helped me put also a storyline over there. And then he said, okay, now you go. Now, when I went to say, first thing that I went was Indonesia. When I went there, I don't speak the language. The videographer was somebody I had never known. In any case, I had no technical knowledge. So I had to act like a proper director, right? So I learned some terms and I tried to kind of guide him. This is what I want, and got some kind of shots and good. In those days, we did not have this connectivity, the internet, so that I could send it to my friend here in Kolkata and tell him, okay, now why don't you see it? So it had to be just scanned and it was there in that little disc that I had. Then when I went to Thailand again, the same routine, did that. But in Thailand, the scenes that I witnessed, what I saw there, changed my complete life. I mean, that was a life changer for me. An entire island had been washed away by tsunami.
Wow.
And all those who were left there were those who had actually gone to sea, and there was nobody, there was just a few people left who were not, some who had gone to sea were lost, some who were on the island had been washed away, but there was a very small group of people who were left behind, who just survived. Now this, out of maybe 3,000 people there were some 30 people left in that island. Everybody else was
Wow.
lost. Homes were gone, schools were gone, buildings were gone, they had nothing left. And the lions went and reconstructed all the homes there. They literally made a lion's village on that island. I had gone maybe 6, 8 months after the devastation. The lions had done quite a lot of rehabilitation over there. And these individuals, who had most of them had lost most of their families, they were now coming in and settling in their homes. And when they saw the lions, you can't imagine the gratitude they had for the lions. It was overwhelming to see that that group of people was so indebted to the lions for making their homes, for giving them a school again, to making, a kind of a hospital for them. And the lions did that entire village up in that little island. That made me really believe that this organization is something phenomenal, not an ordinary place to be. That totally changed my attitude to the organization. Till then, it was my father's organization. I was just there, although I had been a district governor too. But it wasn't something which was mine, which I wanted to be part of. But that the time that I spent in Thailand, in that little island near Krabi, that changed my perspective completely. That showed me, if lions can do this, if even if they can help around 30 to 40 individuals, I mean, this is phenomenal. I want to be part of that. And that made me then become active in Lions. After that, there was no looking back. That was the year 2005. And today, to 2025, 20 years have been the best years of my life, I would say, as far as community service goes.
And you've done so much in those last 20 years that I've seen. I mean, I've only been in line for 10 years, but I've been able to look back and see all the things that you've been able to be a part of. And even till today, I mean, you're still doing major things all the way around the world. So it's great to see. Um, in doing this in the last 20 years, have you ever had any different challenges that have, basically came in your way and that you've had to work through? And how did you overcome those?
Lots of challenges. the country where I come from, we had only everybody in the leadership was like kind of male, right? And they had their perspectives. They could not imagine a woman coming in and even wanting to become an international director. They did not want anybody, any woman coming up and even being, doing something in the organization. It was a very tough time, I would say, because I used to sit in a meeting and I remember they wouldn't even listen to me. They would, and I was just one woman and all those men. And that was probably the way everybody started out in this organization, because at that point of time, very few women had actually come in and become international directors, or were, wanting to become international directors also. So in the leadership ranks, we had very few. So that was a challenge. People would not listen to me, and more so because they felt I'm just my father's daughter. I wasn't even somebody of my own right. And at times I had to really push myself. So there was a tussle all the time. There was a tussle because I was a woman, I feel. There's a tussle because I was young at that time. I think that was also something which they could not believe, that somebody so young could come and talk to them, talk to the lions like that. So even that became a challenge. But as time passed, as I went on, as I did, one assignment after the other, even they kind of mellowed down, and it is all good now, of course. And I hope and pray that more women would come into the fray, come into this organization also, because that's what this organization needs. I believe it definitely needs more women to come in and take charge. And that's one thing I am working on, and I think would always like to work on in this organization.
It's really interesting because, again, from not knowing you that long, I never would have thought naively that was an issue for you. But now you explain it, it makes absolute sense. But you say you've overcome it to such an extent that it just isn't apparent, to people that you've only known you for a little while. So you're such a prominent person in our organisation, not just in India but globally. It's an amazing story, and it's just great to have you on here sharing it.
I think I became too aggressive. Sometimes I feel I'm over aggressive, because I got used to fighting for everything. So even when there's a simple thing, I always start very aggressive. Now I've slowly learning, but I don't think I'm doing very good at that too, to kind of cool down. You don't have to fight for everything. It happens. But I think that's how I started out.
Well, even then, though, I think that when it's your purpose and you feel like very strongly about it, it's hard to tone it down sometimes because you see that not everyone sees it and not everyone has the passion that you have for it. So, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because we have too many people, I think, that are sitting back and don't really know how to step forward for their purpose, and bring it out in the world. But the one thing I love about Lions, I think, in today's society is I think it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a male, or it doesn't matter if you're young or old. You should still be having a voice. And I know that you
Oh,
just got done being on a committee for this last year and a half. Bringing that up and actually showcasing how women and youth can get more involved in Lions Club.
Oh, yes. Not only this, before that, we had the New Voices program.
Hmm.
And when the New Voices program, um, past President Gudrun entrusted me with that. And that was another very exciting time. And that was working just with women, right? That at that point of time, New Voices was about getting more women leaders into the organization. And that was also very in like hearing stories of how women were being, kind of suppressed in some places, given opportunity in other places. In some, we had more women than men in other parts of the world, and how diverse our organization is. That gave me a fantastic perspective of the organization, and that gave me a lot of ideas as to how we could work. But I tell you, this ad hoc committee which I chaired was something different. This was a group of people which was too dynamic even for me. I mean, they wouldn't stop. They had tremendous ideas, and and each one of their ideas was good. And they spent all the time arguing about everything. They had different perspectives. And at times it was so difficult to get them back onto path again, because we used to talk of one thing and we used to go everywhere, but wouldn't stick to the topic. It was too much fun. And at times I almost gave up. I said, this is not going to go anywhere. We just talk, 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 but nothing is coming out of it. But when they sat down and we put all our thoughts together, and suddenly that bonding came, each one coming from a different perspective. But when they came together as a team, suddenly they all started seeing, things in the same way. And that is when this absolute, I would say, a kind of a metamorphosis happened in this group. They did not agree on everything. They definitely did not. And they stuck to their guns all the time. At times, even I tried to override them. They wouldn't listen to me. And I was snubbed quite a number of times too. And I loved that because they were being so honest and they was being so authentic. And that gave me, a reason to understand what it was all about. I looked at things from a different perspective. And I think that just being in this committee has taught me so much. Learning from these young people. Not only young, there were some women coming from different parts, from Japan, from Brazil, and how different Lions is for them, and how different it is for somebody in Indonesia, how different it is for somebody in Turkey. It was a revelation for me. And when you hear stories, when you hear success stories, I think that's what it is. We might have the same motto, but everybody works on a different path. But when these paths, I mean, their goal is the same, their destination is the same, but the different ways to reach it, it's so interesting. And I think that's the beauty of this organization. And that makes this organization so much more richer.
It comes back to diversity, doesn't it? You talk about
Absolutely.
more men, more women in leadership positions, but it's just generally diversity, different ages, different
Absolutely.
demographics, different cultures. That's what's so amazing about the organisation. It just breaks down barriers.
And inclusion, the younger people want to include everybody. I think people my age and maybe elder than to me, we always believed in having these little, this person's fit to come to a club, this person's not right for my club. But the younger people don't see anybody with that lens. I think that's so wonderful. And that's a beautiful lesson I have learned, that we need to see everybody from a different lens. Everybody is not the same. And we've got to respect everybody, include everybody. I think that was the best lesson that I have learned in the last few years of this exposure that I got through these great initiatives of the organization.
Yeah, and I think that Lionism is, as a whole, is very inclusive. I don't care, what different pathway you're on. We there is a place for you, and there's a way to be involved with Lionism. That's one thing I love, uh, and I love the people that are wanting to serve because they want to be more inclusive with everyone being a part. And that's a change. I actually came from a club that up until 5 years ago was all male, and that was something I wanted to change and to get it more inclusive, and it's made it for a better club. The club hasn't really changed that much, as far as like their mindset, but it's just what they'd always done forever. And now
Right.
they're taking it on, and it's been more inclusive. We've done a lot more things, and it's been wonderful. But that's still not happening all the way around the world, and I think we need to, in all different varieties, even outside of Lionism, but we're going there. Hopefully, Lions help to push that around the world and make it more inclusive.
Oh yes, inclusive not only of more women, but even the younger people. Some in some areas we still don't listen to the young people. We still don't get them, as involved as we would like them to be. Their voice is not being heard still. So there's a lot of work to be done, in many parts. And I think, but this awareness is creeping in everywhere. These little groups, this kind of marketing of the organization, which is, I'm sure, will make a total difference. The younger people will get attracted and we'll have more of them, driving their passion also. So I think we are on the right path, I believe. It may take a little time, but we'll get there.
I think a great example of that is Leo Ivy. You know,
Oh, you bet. Oh,
She
you
you know,
bet.
she is such a powerhouse of passion. When she speaks, people listen. Absolutely phenomenal. And talking about clubs, my club is it was formed out of Leos. So more or less all of us were Leos. Um, so we've been going now for about 24 years, and we're about probably at least 50% female, possibly slightly more than 50%. Our last presidents, I think the last 4 or 5 presidents have been female. Our next
Hmm.
president's female. So we're under the thumb a little bit at the moment, to be honest. And the link between Leo Ivy is we actually came back to our club and we made a project to make reusable period products for Leo Ivy, which we actually took out and handed out in Morocco with her. So she's
Oh,
influencing the activities of our club, um, just because we've met each other. Absolutely inspirational young
absolutely.
woman. What she's doing.
I know. And not only that, Leo Ivy, what she did was she partnered with a company who was giving sanitary napkins for, a very, I think almost for free they've given. And right here in India. So I connected her to some of our lions in that part where the factory was. And she has worked with the Leos and the lions there. And they have distributed hundreds and hundreds of those sanitary napkins in so many schools sitting in Africa. She has been coordinating this project. So that's phenomenal, working, getting it done. And now, thanks to technology, we can do that easily, have those video calls, have those Zoom calls, have, full transparency of where the material is going. And it's been fantastic. And I think the phenomenal project going on between the Lions of Kenya and the Lions of India,
Yeah,
for sure.
and all because of Ivy.
yeah, yeah. And the
And
Lions of the UK.
Oh, yes. Oh,
one
wonderful.
thing that I really am amazed by is the way that you guys are doing Omega Leos. I think in India, that is something that we've seen the leadership. You talk about the leadership transition and how you're able to progress them on to the next level. I think that that's been a great way that you've been able to bring that in. I know here in the United States, I'm actually trying to start 2 Omega Leo clubs this next year because I see what you guys are doing over there, and it's made such a difference.
It's made a difference to our Lions clubs. Our Lions clubs are getting younger because of the Leo clubs. They come up with the ideas, and the Lions are very happy to adopt it, at least in my club also. The moment we had our Leo clubs coming in, they came and, okay, let's organize this program for you. They make our meetings fun. Even the service activities, they make it. We never used to take music to our service activities. We wouldn't care about what food we were having, but they are very particular. They'll get all of that, and they make every service activity also fun. And then of course when the reels come out and when the social media buzz, all of that, they are hands on with that. So they've made so much of a difference in our clubs. In fact, I was just talking to one of our line members this afternoon, and she said, my club is relatively new, just 3 years or 4 years, but I think I'm going to start a Leo club because they are the ones who are bringing energy. And I thought that was a perfect comment, that those Leos bring so much of energy into the club, and they keep the club also younger. So it's great to have these Omega Leos, and I think our Leos are doing a fantastic job.
As
Yeah.
far as
They
Omega
really.
Leos in India now, are you able to, what's the main thing that's keeping them going as far as like developing them? The one thing I look at for the United States is being able to help develop them in their pathway forward with their, what they're doing as far as like in the workplace or getting them on the right track to be able to help them to be able to get on, like I said, on the right path. Is that what's you think the one of the major
Yeah,
things there?
I think even those they go through these training programs, the leadership training programs that we have. They are allowed to organize conventions. They are organizing service activities all the time. That's helping them tremendously, and that's kind of become like a competition for them. They are taking part in all these sports activities. They form these leagues where they take part in various competitions all through the one whole week of games and all that they have. That's given a different perspective to the Leos also. It adds to their CVs, because they need social service there, and the organization is providing them that platform, the pathway where they can do that service. So it's helping them in their careers also. Then again, when they're planning and organizing service projects, I think that's the best thing that they are doing, because that teaches them practical skills which you cannot learn from a textbook. So that's been, I think, the greatest learning for them. And those who have seen them perform and have seen how much just being a Leo has helped the individual develop communication skills, their organizational skills. People are joining and they are wanting to come here. Even our children now are wanting to join Leo clubs, because they've seen the way Leos have changed things in Kolkata at least, and many parts of the country. We've seen this.
Now, do you think that, or one of the other approaches I like is that you guys are, whenever they're ready to become a Leo lion and actually move on to the next step, you let them come whenever they want to. Do you feel like that's given them a stronger foundation to become a more of a productive lion?
Oh, yes. Actually, it works both ways. Some of them, when they get discouraged or they don't have a very good experience with the lions, they, kind of leave and go. But now, what we are trying to do, we are making more careful about pairing them up into lions clubs also. Not just letting them go and join just because their parent club was there, so they joined that. No, let them find a club which meets their purposes, where they are more comfortable. So I think that has also changed things. And but yes, not everybody is becoming a lion member. No, I wouldn't say that. But a small percentage is becoming, not a very big percentage also. So, but we hope that maybe after 4 years, 5 years, they'll come back, because they know what Leos and Lions is all about. At this point of time, maybe their focus is not, community service. At this time, their focus is maybe building up a career. So they might do, it might not join. But we've just started Lions networks in Kolkata. Yesterday, we inaugurated 3 networks. And I was surprised. The lions I saw in the networks, I hadn't seen them in our district meetings. They were totally different. And this group found a purpose, and they were all young, most of them women, and they found a purpose in joining these Lions business networks. So they're all Lion members, and they've come together to form 3 different networks where they propose to talk about what they are doing, their business, their careers, and they hope to expand their work through these networks also. So that, I believe, can be the next step for us to strengthen our organization and take ourselves forward.
I think that's an interesting idea. It's slightly different to something that we've just been talking about at Mission 1.5 Summit in Warsaw. I was talking about networking in terms of similar interests and hobbies. So, people may be interested in walking or mountaineering or skiing or caravan and camping, whatever the mutual interest is. And we were looking at it
Right.
from a point of view of getting our lions from across our district to meet and communicate with each other for a different reason. But that doesn't have to stop within our district. That can actually expand into our multiple district, and quite frankly,
Absolutely.
anywhere in the globe, depending on what the interest is. If it was a walking one, for instance, Killy for Kids, perfect example. A
Absolutely.
group of female lions that have a passion for walking, and they're using that passion to raise money to build schools in Kenya and Nepal and so on. So I think that's a really good idea, I think we've moved away. Certainly in the UK, we've moved away from lions in businesses, and I think we need to go back to that as well and try and get back into some of our roots. Originally I think Lions was far more business orientated, and I think we've moved away from it, but we need to stop turning our back on that and go back in and start to demonstrate some of the benefits that Lions has for businesses, whether it's on corporate social responsibility or
Absolutely.
whatever.
And look at our network today. If we could use our network, why locally, even globally, we could use that, right? and that could make such an impact. And the younger people are looking for networking. They are looking for ways and means of connecting with people. So, and nothing better than our network. We've got such a fantastic network. I think we haven't used the power of our network at all. The moment we use the power of our network, whether it's for marketing, whether it's for personal growth, that will be the day when people will just join us without any hesitation. We will, they'll be wanting to be part of this because it helps them. And eventually it has to be helping somebody. I mean, how many people will you get who are going to be as passionate as maybe the three of us here? Not everybody's going to be as passionate, or they won't give as much time as we give. So we will have to find that balance also, right? So we will have to do that, and I think these networks should be the way to go for as we move ahead and as we go towards Mission 1.5 too. A very important component.
I'm just really glad that you mentioned the networking, because it was discussed, like I say, at the Mission 1.5 summit in a breakout room, but I don't think anybody really understood the concept that was being discussed. So I think that's been really useful for me to have a better understanding of what the meaning is when we talk about networking, and it's such a great opportunity.
Right.
And I think that if we are strengthening ourselves, obviously we're going to be able to help out others in a greater level. And, I think it's a great idea. I mean, looking at networking, just what we've done on a small level, these WhatsApp groups that we've had, and we've been able to talk with different people around the world, getting different ideas. Absolutely. And coming together to do what we've done right now. That's only 100 people, give or take. But if we had 1 million people that were actually networking across the world to do what they can do, it doesn't have to mean that they can do it, like you said, it doesn't have to do it a lot. They don't have to do a lot. But just having the opportunity to be a part of a bigger thing and see the networking in place, I think it's tremendous. I think it's a great idea.
It's even if you just look at forget the business part. Suppose today I run a school, and there's a Lions Club which runs a school in another part of the world. And if we can just connect, learn, good practices, what is the things that they are doing, maybe we can just copy them here. That will be great. Maybe all over the world we don't have something like blood banks, right? But in India, in the South Asian countries, we all run blood banks. Now, if we could learn from each other, okay, this is the new machine that you've got. Okay, this is, saving you money there. This is how you've got your, how you are marketing it. We could each learn from the other. So not necessarily only for the business, even for Alliance business, we could, use our network so strongly. I think we would make a lot of difference. We could learn from each other. Thanks to all the, podcasts that you all do, thanks to our telethons, we are seeing so many projects which we had never knew existed. But now we know that they are there. And they're so similar to what is happening all over the world. So, but we can all learn from other. Why should we reinvent the wheel all the time? So I think it's coming together, it's networking in whatever form it is, these global service weeks, the telethons, I think they're the best way to go.
Yeah, we actually had one of our first guests that we had, Pat Furlong from Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy. She actually has this new device that is for taking blood samples and to find rare diseases that kids have. One of them, being a disease that actually took my son. But she's trying to get this all the way around the world. We were actually able to help her get in Africa. And one of the other things that she wants to try to get in is to help out the people across India. I was like, well, we have a network, and I think we can help you out and get you
in. We know people.
India.
And we have a beautiful blood bank. In fact, we have 3 blood banks in Kolkata itself. So we could, just do a test run right here and start off. Yeah. We'd be very happy.
It was all about genetic testing, wasn't it, Chris?
Yes, it was
about really simple. Really simple to do, but yeah, it was brilliant to be able to connect, Pat up with our Lions and hopefully build that bridge.
And we would be so happy to do anything. Absolutely, just we can take that forward anytime.
And we're trying to create another connection as well between Lions and another one of our recent guests who started a project called Kickstart Coffee, and that's in Uganda. And she's basically she's bringing coffee to the UK and roasting it, grinding it, and selling it. And the profits that she makes from that go back to Uganda to put children through schools to pay for books, to pay teachers, to provide food. And now they're trying to grow more coffee. They're planting more coffee beans at the moment, coffee plants at the moment. So they're trying to expand that network. And I was talking to Manoj very, very briefly at the weekend, and I've sent him some information, and hopefully we'll be able to connect Lions with Kickstart Coffee in Uganda. And that's the amazing thing about what we're doing here. And we didn't really
Absolutely.
predict it. We didn't start this with the idea of being able to connect people and help them with their purposes. But that seems to be an outcome that is repeating itself multiple times.
Sometimes it's amazing. We did something called the Give Conclave. I don't know whether you've heard about this. Now, this was bringing together projects from all over the country, and we showcased them. It was like a huge exhibition, a fair, and each project kind of showcased what they were doing over there. I think I have traveled and I know the Lions very well, but there were so many projects which even I had never heard of. And amazing projects, Lions so dedicated, working over there, huge schools, pediatric cancer centers, things that they're doing for the physically challenged. There were many units where they are actually making the tricycles and wheelchairs, things like this, which I hadn't even known that they exist in India. And it brought us all together when we saw what was happening, and we saw, my God, Lions are involved in so many things. And the guests, the people, the non-Lions who came in were absolutely blown away. We didn't have any idea Lions were doing so much. In fact, I think the Lions themselves were so energized because they saw people in different parts of the country doing so much work. And I think that was fabulous, coming together, putting it all together. And I really wish we could do this even maybe electronically. Electronic gift conclave would be something easy to do, cost effective, and across the world people could come and hire these booths, virtual booths, and if we can put it all together, I think that would be a fabulous exposition of the services that we do. And I think every country, every district has one special project. And we could just show that. That'll be just amazing.
So glad you mentioned that, because I saw images and videos of it. I was amazed, absolutely amazed what you were doing. When I was district governor, I did something called Lions Share, which is all about Lions sharing service projects that they were passionate about. And I created this booklet, and inside
Oh, wow.
there's all sorts of different projects. And I think I'd love to be able to recreate that in the multiple district level. So I'm taking on multiple district GST this year. So that's one of my dreams, and wouldn't that be great if I could make it into a give conclave? So rather than
Wonderful.
just people giving information out and we just share it through paperwork, wouldn't it be amazing if we could put on a couple of days to actually get people to come together and stand on a stage and be proud of the things that they do, because boy, they are proud.
Oh, yes. And it was a kind of a fundraising for them also. Because, as people came in, we charged them an entrance fee. And in exchange of that entrance fee, we gave them paper money. And they could go and donate to any project, right? So and whichever project could market themselves well and get the money that, the paper money, we gave them actual money for that. So that was like, so it wasn't a big amount, but whatever it was like you are pitching your project also to Lions. So they were not only showcasing, they were also pitching the project. So that became very exciting, even competitive at times, sometimes too competitive, but it was fun. And that is another thing that is an idea which in some free time, maybe 2 years from now, I definitely want to take it up.
That was a great idea.
I mean, I think it'd be something we'd love to do over here, and it's one of those why we even started this podcast is being able to see the different projects and seeing the different purposes people have around the world, showcase those, and let people know that if they have a purpose that's kind of like in that direction, they're not alone. They always have someone that they can be a part of, that can network with, and that they could come forward and do what they want to do in life. So I would love to have it here in the United States. I think we should be able to do it all the way around the world and showcase what all we're doing. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, and I think if we can do it, in fact, our suggestion was to our internet for an international convention. We have allow everybody to come, and I think rather than the parade, maybe we could do it for a year, just service projects.
Yeah, brilliant idea.
Then
Well, maybe since we
traditions are
have this
traditions.
this 2027, it might be, it's coming here in DC. Maybe we could help, put it together by then. We've got a few years to get ready for it.
Right. I think even something doing it virtually, given all your expertise, Chris. So I think we could, if we do that,
Let's do
it
it.
would be something which would be absolutely, phenomenal, because it saves money. This will cost money, but that, when we did it, we wanted to do a second gift conclave, but we don't have, at this point of time, the bandwidth or the kind of, it took so much of, even the money, the resources, the manpower. We spent almost 6 months working on it. So you just shy away from doing it again. But we want to definitely do it. And doing it virtually, I think, would be much more cost effective and much more far reaching.
And we have a host
We did
here
have,
that wants to do it,
we
right?
did sorry.
So we have a host that is willing to host it, right?
I know. And that, seeing your talents, that gives me hope that we can easily do it.
No, no,
We're thinking of you, Sangeeta. We're thinking of you.
Let's think
We're going to
about
put a
it.
microphone in your hand and let you go.
Oh my, that will be the biggest mistake you'll make, Chris.
I think it'd be a great thing. But actually, I'll bring it up. I mean, let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Perfect.
Sounds
I
like
am excited.
it's what we need to do. People need, like you said, we don't need to keep reinventing the wheel. That's the great thing about us going to these global service weeks. We see what's going on elsewhere. We can bring those ideas back. Some of them we can recreate in our own neighbourhoods. Not all of them, but some of them we can, and that's the great thing. And going out and serving alongside other lions from other countries. Certainly when I
Oh
came to
yeah.
India and working with you guys and the Leos, that was so good. I remember the service project with the food parcels and the music and dancing and the competition to see who could make the most lunches in 3 minutes, and absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible.
I know it's been so much fun. I mean, these global service weeks, unfortunately, could not make it this time. But then, I think that was the best thing that we, experienced, and the the feeling of doing something, for somebody else with your hands in another country, I think is absolutely phenomenal. That's really fantastic. And coming together as a group from different parts of the world, that makes us a global family, and I think that's
Exactly.
so important.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I have one last question for you, Sangeeta. What advice would you give someone who's searching for their own voice or purpose?
Believe in yourself, have confidence. Everybody has what takes to make a success of anything that they put their heart into. All that we need is confidence. Especially, I speak to the women. I said, have faith in yourself. You have it and you can do it. Each one can do whatever they wish and they put their minds to it. I think sometimes we lack trust in our own selves. Trust in yourself. That's what all I would say. And you will find your purpose and you will find the means to your purpose too.
Great
Perfect.
advice.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to end the call with here?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was fun talking to both of you. It was fun, exchanging thoughts, exchanging ideas. And I think we have just planted the seeds for a global gift conclave. I'm excited.
I think so. I think we're going to make it happen. Like I said, it's one of those things where this is why we started doing this, because we started seeing the need for it and the need for us to be able to talk and showcase what people are doing around the world. And I know myself, I personally thank you for all you've done and the things that you continue to do, because I know the next 2 years are going to be very trying for you, and you're going to be going all the way around the world. But know that we're all thinking of you and wishing you great travels and all you do. And thank you for all you do.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you in Orlando.
Yes, we will see you soon. Anything else, Chris?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I just
Thank you.
echo your statement, really, Chris. Thank you for your time and your service and your inspiration. And have a fantastic 2 years. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll see some amazing things, and I'm sure you'll continue to share them with the world.
Of course. And I look forward to seeing you both very soon.
And now a look at LCIF and how they're helping others around the world.
Hi, I'm Vikash Goyal, President of Lions Club of Kaohsiung. I'm here with my team and our delegates, Lion delegates, to inaugurate this newly constructed toilet block under the Global Service Week, under Health for Her project. We have 3 toilets inside. Actually, the toilet here was not in very good shape. So with the LCIF funding and the club efforts, we could actually construct a fresh, hygienic toilet for the girls. We want to help them grow to become better citizens and bring about a change in the world. So these toilet blocks will help students in the school, the staff of the school. Library books will help them know about the world, because we've collected books from all around the world and given them so that they'll know how the world looks. Even if they cannot travel, they'll be traveling through books. And then we have the sanitary pads vending machine, which will help them. Not everyone can afford to buy sanitary pads because it's expensive commercially in the market. So we have done it with 5 rupees, which is the minimum price for a sanitary pad. The sewing machines are going to help this school. They are going to teach how to sew so that they can take it as a profession when they grow up, the children, the students. And the sewing machines we've donated the sewing machines to people under the poverty belt. So it will help them with their livelihood. LCIF has been a force to actually help us do these projects, because as a small town club, we don't have sufficient fund to do everything that we want to do. There are a lot of things that we want to do, but LCIF comes in very handy here. Of course, we'll put in our effort financially, but LCIF contributes to a large extent to help these projects. Helping the youth is very important, because they are the buds that are going to turn to rose in future. So if the youths are hygienic and if we are helping them, we are building the community, we are building the nation, and we are building the world actually for the future.
Thank you for joining us on Voices of Purpose. If today's story moved you, inspired you, or sparked a thought, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, live it, let it drive purpose in your own life. Until next time, stay grounded, stay inspired, and keep using your voice for good.